Good up.
This is Channel 253.
On this episode of the Grit and Grain podcast.
On August 8th, we'll have our 4th annual Grainmaker Beer Festival, which is it's a Friday. It's in downtown Spokane this year at Brick West Brewing out on their remarkable plaza patio city park space.
It's gorgeous.
And it's our opportunity to celebrate with Spokane the richness of the grain harvest and to showcase all this great beer and all the these thoughtful brewers who are working with our local bounty, I guess, and to not be too nostalgic about it.
Channel 253 is member supported. I'm producer Doug Mackey, and I hope you will show your support by going to channel253.com/membership and join. Thank you.
Welcome to the Grit and Grain podcast, where we explore and celebrate the craft beer industry, community, and history in Tacoma, Washington, and surrounding Pacific Northwest areas. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's get to it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Grit and Grain podcast, coming to you guys from Peaks and Pints in Tacoma, Washington. Huzzah. My name is Matt McLaren, here as always with Ron Swarner.
Well, hello.
What's going on, Ron?
I'm feeling grounded, slightly toasted, and full of complex character.
Really brought that around.
Good job. Good job. Bravo.
Glad to hear it. Our resident pro brewer and line cleaner, Bethany Carlson, is on the mic. What's up, Bethany?
Hi. Not much. How are you guys?
Good. Super stoked for part 2. Hopefully you guys tuned in last week. We're back this week with Rikki from Haas Farms and Brian from LINC Malt for a raw ingredient 2-parter. So if you listened in last time, we were smelling hops and talking about all kinds of stuff. We're going to get into some malt stuff this time. But before we get into all of that extra stuff, what are you guys drinking right now?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm chugging a Doug.
Yeah.
Douglas Lager. It's a beautiful beer. Brian can tell you more about it.
I was going to say, why is this beer so cool?
But you can, you guys know the song Chug-a-Lug, Chug-a-Lug?
Yeah.
Start thinking about Chug-a-Doug, Chug-a-Doug.
Nice.
Just so you know.
Good branding.
Yeah.
There is a combine that competes in an annual combine demolition derby in the town of Lynn, Washington, recently named the Chug-a-Doug. Rikki is the queen of the Chug-a-Doug, and everybody should join us on the second Saturday in June in Lynn, Washington to
It is the
celebrate
best.
Queen Chug-a-Doug.
Yeah.
Queen Chug-a-Doug.
Queen Chug-a-Doug. Rikki loves Doug. Rikki also loves Paul and Travis, or Tristan, and all
those
the other
guys.
people, all the guys. But Lynn, Washington's Combine Derby is the best thing on the world, and you would never know it, but I heard about it my whole life, and when I finally got to go with the LINC Malt guys and the Coldstream Malt guys, it changed my life. Yeah, it's just true.
Forever. And that's what you're going to be doing next year?
Oh,
for
100%.
For birthday festivities, you said?
Yes.
Sick. Mm-hmm. All right. I'll put it on my calendar. Field trip.
Wait, so
Saturday
Brian,
in June.
you're chugging a
Douglas,
Doug?
right out of the bottle. Brewed here in Tacoma, grown in Colfax, Washington, malted in Spokane Valley, Washington. It's a perfect beer in my book. Everybody should be asking for buckets of Doug at their local drinkery.
Absolutely.
6 bottles, 1 tin pail, a bunch of ice.
Nice. Exactly.
Chug a Doug.
I'm also drinking Doug, but I'm allowing the aroma to go into my nose.
Oh, classy.
You poured Doug into a glass?
I didn't get the Doug memo, so I am drinking Feral Joy Hazy IPA.
You kept your word. Good.
Good job.
Ron has Irish Death on Nitro right now, so I figured that'd be perfect.
Fucking homage.
Oh, fucking
Yes.
homage.
Yes.
Yep. Hopefully, if you guys
beautiful beer.
listen to Ricky's first episode, that's where you cut your teeth in a lot of ways in the industry.
Episode
Yeah.
34.
Episode 34.
Oh, man.
It's been so long.
It's been so long.
This is 154.
I know. What
Holy
the fuck are we
cannoli.
doing?
Wow. That's awesome.
Do you guys get cut off and effusively praised for how cool this podcast is often?
Sometimes.
Does it get
if
edited?
we're like all in
Does
the
it get
same
edited
place.
out? I just channel 253, like Spokane to
awesome.
Tacoma Love, first of all, and like long time listener, I guess second time caller now because this is episode number 2, but like
True.
we talked last episode about how special the Northwest is and how connected the
Yeah.
brewing community is, the raw materials. Like, I mean, I don't listen to podcasts out of Chicago or whatever, but like this is so cool. Like,
Yeah.
I just have to say that.
Thank you
That's
so
so
much.
nice.
Really
Yeah.
special.
There's a lot of like great beer podcasts here, but a lot of them are like, I mean, we all have fucking full-time jobs. I don't even know how the 4 of us do this.
It's amazing what you guys do. Yeah.
And then Chris like is here every single week. Like it's a team of people now, and I don't know. We wanted to do something that was like pretty regular and frequent and weekly, and hopefully kept people engaged in the industry in some kind of way. And I don't know. Now
It
we're fucking
matters.
150
Don't burn
episodes in.
yourselves out.
Well, I'll tell you, Brian,
Please.
there's probably about
Okay.
20 people that have been on this podcast that have dropped your name.
That is 100% true.
Yeah. Yeah. The
I'm-
first
I'm
episode I was
14 of
here, I
them.
was
The
like,
the combination of those two words, Brian, and Estes, like just the chaos of the universe. I can't explain that.
no, but like, I mean, if anybody is this plugged into not only the Northwest beer scene, but as well as the West Coast beer scene, I would say is Brian. Like, I know the first episode too. I was like, I gave a list of people, and
Yep.
I think you were number one.
I think that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. What can I say?
Totally true.
Yeah, but like it's so neat to like be with you here and talking about this stuff because there's you have such a finger on the pulse for what's happening for like West Coast beer in general, and then the same thing with you guys with the Channel 253 on the beer industry as well as like when you had Site Class. I was just listening to that episode and just like kind of talking about like how do you talk about beer? That's a hard thing to do too. Like it's just really cool to be here. So thank you.
The Cyclass one was super fun too, because like similarly, like you were just in Chicago and you got to kind of like engage with like a different community in kind of a deep way, and they're plugged in that way, and so that was really cool too. And they got some of those stories from those brewers in like a really intimate setting, and so that was such a fun conversation. Honestly, we did not get to everything, so they need to come back for like a double header.
Yep.
Yeah, we just want free tickets to Grainmaker too. That is
mostly
that's the most.
The door is open.
So should you tell us about
I was going to say,
Grainmaker?
hey Ron, what's Grainmaker?
Yeah.
Yeah. So August is harvest where we're at, and 12 months of the year is really important for farming. But I do think harvest is magical for folks generally getting to appreciate why farming matters.
Yep.
And so, as a distinct growing region, producing a product that is critical to beer, but not one that brewers think about the nuance or the specificity of often. It's really important and valuable to bring people into our region. And that's the point of Grainmaker. Grainmaker came into being in 2021, which coincided with two farmer-owned companies, LINC, as well as our friends and like compatriots at Coldstream Malt and Grain, like entering into a partnership to try to like really most aggressively pursue the idea that we were talking about last episode of craft malt and grain as this emergent thing in craft beer, and really like where we really see the potential of how grain done right for craft beer is going to elevate everything that we're doing and ultimately lead to better beer, better outcomes for brewers, and all the way back to the farm, hopefully a better like reality, set of opportunities, set of connections for growers. And what we do with Grainmaker is bring a bunch of brewers into the region at this point from across the West Coast. And it's an opportunity for the team at LINC and the team at Coldstream and our partnership to provide hospitality to those folks and present that in a really direct and tangible fashion. And it's just, it's very special for us. We try to make it special for the folks that come out. One of the things that's emerged, we started doing this 5 years ago. After a year, we were like, well, fuck, like we're bringing all of these world-class brewers to Spokane, which has an incredible scene that's making great beer and like creating great community, but it's kind of the end of the line for other people's beers getting to Spokane.
Yep.
it's like all these people are coming through town. We should make them bring beer with them to showcase our local grain, going, all the way to Southern California, back into Spokane.
Yep.
So on August 8th, we'll have our 4th annual Grainmaker Beer Festival, which is it's a Friday. It's in downtown Spokane this year at Brick West Brewing out on their remarkable plaza patio city park space.
It's gorgeous.
And it's our opportunity to celebrate with Spokane the richness of the grain harvest, and to showcase all this great beer and all the these thoughtful brewers who are working with our local bounty, I guess, and to not be too nostalgic about it. This year it's 22 beers, 46 brewers, plus one fucking kick-ass baker who got his way into the mix.
Sweet. Good for them.
Following shout out to Shauna and the team at Washington Brewers Guild.
Yes.
Unlimited taster pour, so a ticket gets you the opportunity to try through everything.
Smart.
This is a trend that I really hope just sticks around.
Shauna is
And
She's
it's
an animal.
It's a good opportunity to get to experience things and taste things and make more out of a beer festival, which I think there's a lot of agreement that model needs to persist, but it needs to evolve, and that's what we're trying to do. All while it's also the welcoming party for these. It'll be I think in town we'll probably have 50 or 60 breweries from all over the place. So to hang out with a bunch of people who are excited to be in Spokane. But yeah, I mean, and then we take all those brewers down to see barley harvest and give them just a really hands-on experience. So it's our harvest celebration. It's a fucking sick beer festival. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh shit, that's in
It would be in
3 to 7 days.
1 week, actually.
You're
1 week out from hearing it right now.
If you're listening to this not after August 8th at 10 a.m. 2025, you can still get to this festival no matter where you are in the Pacific Northwest if you drive fast enough. So, and you won't regret it.
Yeah.
That's
The breweries, like Leslie kind of, she clued us in on some of the breweries that were coming up, and it's an unbelievable list. It's funny because if you, like you said, you're trying to get these breweries to kind of highlight this really specific aspect of brewing, and the breweries that you think of as the breweries that would prioritize that sort of thing are the ones coming up. It is a list of very, very good breweries who will do a good job at highlighting very good, unique grain. And that is not, I mean, if you're here to drink beer, that is not a festival to miss.
And I should say grainmakerbeerfest.com is where you can buy tickets.
There you go.
Also available at the door and all that jazz. At LINC Malt, at Coldstream Malt, at Brick West Beer, I want to say would be places that you could look into it. And yeah, the lineup, we're so fortunate to get to work with the brewers that we do. There are not enough spaces in the festival, and we set them all up as collaborations. It's a silly approach, but it is makes it special.
That's good problems, man. Not having enough space for all the breweries that want to come up.
It's exciting to get to showcase what we're trying to do by way of these thoughtful brewers.
And collaboration is kind of the best way to celebrate things, I think, because we shout out to Haas and Freem. Just saying.
Yeah, let's talk about that for 30 minutes.
But when so Campbell at Freem sent me an email because he knew that I was really jazzed about it. So Alexis Chain, one of his brewers, is also very stoked on the whole everything because Freem participated last year, and he's like, "Hey, I'm pretty sure you and Alexis can match each other's stoke. You guys want to, make this happen and do a collab for a Grainmaker." And it was so great because that day was Alexis came and 2 other brewers, Asher and I want to say Kenzie, and I'm pretty sure I messed up her name. It was 2 weeks ago, which was 2 years ago, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Time's relevant.
It was a while ago, right? Anywho, but they came to do a collaboration with Haas. We're using a hop that isn't a hop that we released to the world yet. This is a hop that we're just we want this hop to go into this beer. We're kind of sneaking stuff in, right? But the entire brew day was us as well as Rachel Verhey Goakatia, who works at Coldstream Malt with Leslie.
Yeah.
Rachel also came from Varietal. So you've had Chris Baum on here before. So very wonderful, very capable. All three of the people that were there, very capable brewers. And the entire day, just the energy was just stoke. You know, like
Totally.
we all were just so happy to be here. We're
That's
all
so
talking about
cool.
ingredients. We're all talking about why we like this, why we think that this is such a good festival, why this is such a thing that we want to keep going, and we're all excited to be a part of it, keep going. Like, is so neat. So like that incentivizing or not incentivizing, but encouraging the collaboration in order for everybody to participate is such a, I wouldn't say necessarily a unique thing, but it's something that more people should do. Because in the end, if brewers are excited to go to their job day after day, the customers are excited to drink the beer day after day,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
You know, so this is just, the stoke is real. It's just so
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah. It's like a way to
Stoke
keep.
is real.
Yeah, the Stoke is real.
Yeah.
Beer name. Good
Yeah,
beer
hang
name.
on, let me write it down real quick.
Actually, our beer is called the Steffi Heffy because it has Steffi.
That's great.
The Steffi wheat is a beautiful malt, or malted wheat, and we also use some unmalted. What's the history of Steffi? Because
Yeah.
like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
and
let
the
me,
red.
let me break it down for you. But
Yeah.
first, like, props to the hop company being like, oh yeah, what we really need to do is make a traditional German wheat beer as a way to feature the hop that we're excited
Yeah,
about.
totally.
I think
Actually, it was Alexis's idea to make a Hefeweizen,
Yeah.
so we're like, done. All
Yeah.
right, finally, it's not an IPA. We'd love to make something that's
Yeah.
not an IPA. This is
I
great.
do. I
Yeah.
think though, like whether like brewers, et cetera, there's this like, oh well, you're either like team hops or team malt, and it's like I'm team like how do we make these ingredients play
Team
well
good
together
beer.
and make the best
Yep.
beer possible. And if
Yep.
you haven't accomplished that, like I haven't done my job,
Mm-hmm.
like regardless of the role and of the malt in the beer. So yeah, Steffi Heffy, combination like quite old Bavarian origin barley that's involved a bunch of partnerships between our friends at Montana Craft, the Coldstream folks doing the majority of the production, or if not all of the production at this point in North America, but like a true classic German Pilsner malt. And then a very, very old English by way of Germany, by way of Western Russia / what now is probably modern Ukraine, by way of the Palouse in the like second half of the 19th century, wheat called English Squarehead, aka Red Russian in our book.
Yep.
That like I'm pretty sure Don's the only guy in the world that grows it anymore because it's old as shit.
Sure.
But pairing those two grains that have this German lineage and like cultural background taste well together to have like the world's most expensive tiny like brew system and an incredible thoughtfully minded brewer down in Hood River say, let's make a fucking Hefeweizen together for a beer festival. Like,
Sure.
Like that, like, tells me how excited people are about this idea and where it takes us is, you know, it's always surprising to me.
That's such like an interesting point about this because like the second that you had a brewer who understood the origins of this particular ingredient, they were like excited about a style that we don't get hype about anymore,
Yep.
but they're like, holy shit, I can include something that like completely connects this style to its origins in like a meaningful way. And then you have a brewer who's like, we're fucking doing that. That's like an excitement, not like you kind of mentioned it, like it translates to consumers in a way. But like that's a story that you just cannot replicate in any fashion. And like fucking Ron dropped a bar a couple episodes where the best stories aren't written, they're poured.
Yeah.
And that is like, when I think about that right there, that's what I think about is like, here's a grain that has this really specific history. Here's a brewer who heard about it and got super excited about a style that nobody gets hype about anymore. And then they made something that is like unique and world class, and like you're never going to connect with the agricultural history of these ingredients in a way that you would until you drink this beer.
Yeah, and it's like I want people to know all that detail, and at the same time, I almost want somebody to come through this festival who's just on a whim heard about it in Spokane, and they tried the beer, and they just go, "Wow, this is a special beer." Don't have the language why.
Oh, I want to talk to you about this exact thing.
I certainly don't know any of the background, but it's like there's something special about this.
Yes.
And I think what we want to do is both. Like we want people to want to geek out. We also want them to taste a beer and say,
I can't put my finger on it, but this is hitting me in my bones in a way that no other beer has. That's such a real fucking thing. And I've like tried to verbalize that to people for so many years, and it's so hard to do. And so we have one of our friends, Lyra, who's part of the Browns Point, and like she's been on the podcast a few times too. Her and I talk about this a lot because she's like really invested in identifying ways to like describe, like judge beer based on like expression and like intention. And I talk a lot about like composition in beer, which I feel like is a really unusual concept in beer. It's much more art derived or music derived, and we don't really talk about it. But like if you read really popular art books and they describe like, even somebody who doesn't understand painting, they look at certain paintings and they're like, I don't understand why, but this feels really good to look at. But it's like a Da Vinci or like a Monet, and it's objectively a really fantastic painter, and it's because of composition. And so my question to you is like, you're dealing with an ingredient that has been, like you said, mostly globally consolidated to the point where it's hard to differentiate between a lot of different iterations of these grains. And so now you have this thing where you might actually be able to create or contribute to the composition of a beer in such a way where somebody who doesn't understand anything about beer can drink it and go, damn, this is like a special thing. Do you feel like that's an aim of yours as somebody who's like a malt craft or like a craft malt producer? Like in order to translate something that is objectively good to people who might not understand why it's so good?
That's I love that question. And I'm thinking about all of the people I get to work with who aren't talking to you right now and what their answers might be as well. And I can't speak for them, and we're a funny bunch, so I'd be curious to hear their reactions. Yeah. For me, I think I think I said this in the last episode. I come from produce, which wasn't like I'm going to train in fruits and vegetables. It was I've noticed that how people experience food shapes how they see their world, their community, their day-to-day, and it was a delightful surprise to me as somebody who was very interested in craft beer but didn't know anything about malting to join this company that kind of tripped its way into making malt in some ways and say, oh great, and we're growing in this direction, I'm going to join this program and learn about all this. The opportunity to do that with beer and just say, how do we make this meaningful? Is this it feels like this laden thing? It's like, no, I just had a great night. Yeah. I didn't think about anything heavy all night long. That's an expression of that, but to say it was better in any sense of that term, that motivates me big time. And with something like the brewer campout part of Grainmaker, it's how do we get people together and have them experience hospitality? We could feed them. Shout out to Douglas. Feed them Rainier all day long and still have them walk away with a special experience, right? Or that's what we would be striving for. Because
it's about more than
so there's so many layers to that. I do think, and this I might get myself in trouble for this because I do think it is this is maybe a hot take with regards to how craft beer approaches hops, in aggregate. That's not what I don't mean to say. Well, let's just turn up the volume on malt and be like, what can you zap me with tomorrow that's going to make me pay attention more? No. It's what is the place that what we're doing as a part of the process of taking barley from the farm to the beer to sharing the beer that just makes that experience a little more particular, where you feel a little more able to be present. Right here. We're right here right now because this beer is so pleasant and I can't explain why.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to, the most aromatic of the three hops we smelled last week was the first one. I heard more exclamations about the latter two. And my hunch is that part of it is because of the things that we learned about those hops as we went. And I think we need to relearn a little bit of that in the craft beer scene, where it's not just the what grabbed my attention the most. It's from just a volume 11 standpoint.
Sure.
What did you learn when you were brewing beer that helped you in the malt industry?
When I made like 2 batches of homebrew in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Trust the professionals.
That's a good fucking answer.
Yeah. Which is not my strong suit. I like to learn. My kid is about to like start swim lessons, and my wife was like, "Oh, I've got this conflict this day. Can you take him?" And I immediately went to my own childhood, refusing to get in the pool because I hate to be taught things. So. Trust the professionals. Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Nice. So after you graduated from Richland High School and you went to Gonzaga,
Yeah.
you took 7 months and you were in Central America.
Yeah.
What did you do down there?
We're going to answer that question right after the break.
Yeah.
I got you, Doug. Yeah, we're going to take a
actually
super
hit
quick
him
break.
Yeah.
Ron has a bougie barley wine. We're going to pour it super quick, and then Brian's going to answer his question. We'll be right back.
All right.
Greetings, listeners. Thank you for listening to yet another Channel 253 Podcast Network episode.
This episode is only able to happen thanks to the listeners who have supported Channel 253 with a membership of $4 a month or $40 a year. They help keep the microphones running. And if you appreciate what I really think is like a public service to the people of Tacoma, I hope you will support what we're doing.
Especially at this time when there's a mayoral race in Tacoma, and we're trying to cover that, as well as all the other things that we cover: food, beer,
politics, moving to Tacoma, just the interesting people around town. We've got a lot to check out. So if you like what we're doing, visit channel253.com/membership. And thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out during the break. As always, a shout out to Doug, our wonderful producer who makes us sound awesome every single week.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah. Please do go check out Channel 253 every day. Yeah, it's always different. Please do go check out Channel 253. I know you guys heard about it on the break, but it is a pretty important time to stay connected to what's going on in your own communities, and Channel 253 is a great way to do it. Throw it on when you're sitting in traffic and stay connected. It's awesome. And it also shout out to Chris, who's awesome and puts us on video every single week. Please go to YouTube, subscribe to Grain and Grain Podcast.
And his crazy Photoshop skills.
I know.
You've been
Dude, the
doing
reels
great.
are getting better.
Is that you that's doing that?
Yeah, all of it.
You're doing great. Yeah, it's really fun to watch. Like
Dude, the reels are getting better every
Yeah,
single
they're so
week.
much fun.
It's fucking so funny.
Neat.
I don't know how many times I can click like on my own content, like our own content. But Jesus Christ, it's
Gotta
so
start
funny.
making some shadow accounts, man. Just
I know.
do a weird thing,
Okay, Ron, you poured everybody a bougie
I
beer.
did.
What is this?
Anchorage Wendigo.
Yeah.
The double oaked black barley wine. I believe it's #1 in the world for barley wine.
At the moment, I think it might be.
It is yummy.
Yeah.
No big deal. I sold this to you. It's not a problem. This is, big, robust, like black barley wine.
Shout out to Ryan with Deschutes and Boneyard for gifting us this.
Oh, did he really? Okay, yes.
That's nice. I thought I sold you this case.
I was thinking, well, because that's cool, because Anchorage makes such good beer.
That's embarrassing.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Couldn't just let me have that, huh?
Have you had,
heard you, but that's hilarious.
have you had anybody from Alaska yet?
No, not yet.
No Alaskan brewers whatsoever?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Next time Gabe's in town, I might try and force him to come and do this.
Okay.
But he's also, I guess him and the Midnight Sun guys are the only folks from Alaska that I really have any kind of tangential relationship with.
Technically, they're part of my district for the Master Brewers Association.
Son of a bitch.
Really?
Okay,
Well, I'm
so
going to...
May 15th and 16th in 2026, if you're going to Hood River and you happen to make beer, maybe come to Tacoma first and be on a podcast.
Exactly.
Okay, there
Thanks for
you
the
go.
plug, Grady. Ron, can you repeat your question before the break?
Yeah.
Yes. So, Brian, after you graduated from Richland High School in the Tri-Cities, made your way up to Spokane to go to Gonzaga, get a psychology degree.
I told
Wait,
you.
you were a psych
graduated.
major too?
I did
know
graduate.
that.
And then you took off for 7 months to Central America. What did you do down there? And why'd you go?
Sounds so ominous.
I know.
Man, I wish I was good at making up lies.
That's a Breaking Bad episode now.
What were you doing?
There's a
down
turtle
there?
somehow.
Yeah.
And I also wish I was good at being succinct but meaningful, which I suck at.
You let the grain do the talking.
Yeah.
I, during my college years, had met a gal, and we'd met in Central America. We'd met in Costa Rica. And we decided after graduation that we should go and travel some more. And it was a remarkable experience. I think we had some highfalutin ideas about how it was going to go, but we basically backpacked all over the place. I would say that on top of learning about being with another person for that long, we didn't fly anywhere. So she took a train out from New York State, which is where she was from. We traveled down the West Coast and through the Southwest, spent about a month crossing Mexico, spent a few months in Guatemala.
Wow.
Made it as far south as Nicaragua. But I think at the time I was like keeping a log, and we traveled like 35,000 miles in 7 months, all on the ground.
So jealous.
And it was,
Yeah.
all of the buses, boats, trains, maybe a donkey somewhere in there. But I mean, I would say like Central America and then Mexico as well. It's like our neighbors, each very distinct cultures and communities, economies, and it was really special to be at a point where I had the freedom and the openness to just go and
That's so
experience
awesome.
it.
So many people just jump into the workforce.
Yeah.
If I could do it over again, I would travel.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like a little irresponsible, and I was broke as fuck for some time. But
That's how you learn, baby.
yeah, but I didn't know any better, and I did it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, you bet.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Let's do
Why
it.
did you major in psychology?
I declared my major the second semester of my senior year?
Okay, same
Damn.
actually, and also psychology because I just put it off forever.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I like people. I care about them. I was between like psychology and sociology by credits because of what I was interested in. I'm fascinated by what makes people and the communities they live in healthy or not.
Ooh,
Neat.
that's interesting.
That is.
Honestly, the
Did you
bridge.
just say you're not good at making things succinct and meaningful?
Yeah,
That's what that is.
I'm tearing up.
I know. And then to bridge that from like where you were to like growing grain is also really. I mean, like I don't know. It makes total sense to me.
It's all the
Yeah.
same for me.
It is all the same.
And the whole like I hate talking about myself part like very
Too bad. We're
strong,
gonna ask you more
strong.
questions.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
things that are cool that are going.
Like Baroness Malt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
talk about Baroness.
So before I had even joined LINC, I'm not in the picture. This is great. LINC was a couple years old. Produce distributor. That's putting it very shorthand, but produce
What's the
distributor.
acronym? So everybody knows.
Local Inland Northwest Cooperative.
Cool.
And formed to help local growers interested in creating more value for their crops and maintaining the farm's identity and story with the end user. Formed to like eliminate barriers to new markets for folks wanting to do that. So think like I sell at a farmer's market, I sell tomatoes or peaches, and I hear this school district or this hotel chain wants to buy things like I could sell them, but they say, oh, you need a big insurance policy, or you need to deliver to me every day of the week, or we just can't talk to one farmer at a time. LINC is a group of growers and food entrepreneurs who said, well, let's solve that problem so folks aren't just limited to selling at the farmer's market if they care about selling as locally as possible and connecting with the end consumer. LINC got a little ways into that and realized produce is seasonal, and there's a fuck ton of cereal grain grown in our region. How do we cash flow? How do we represent cereal grain in our market? And one of our founders is a very avid home brewer, one of the founders of the Grain Shed, and said, well, we should get into this malting thing because nobody's doing it at a local scale. Nobody's pursuing flavor. With all due respect to Joel, if you're listening, like, I think he would say he had no idea what he was getting into.
Sure.
Certainly the equipment supply chain functionally didn't exist at the scale we were talking about. I still learn horror stories to this day of like the bad old days. But the very first barley through our building was Baroness barley. The reason for that was because a farmer named Bill Myers, his family's been down in the Colfax area for a gazillion years. That's what he grew. He had a bunch of it. He was doing some specialty culinary type stuff, so he was working with LINC. And when Joel said, "Hey, Bill, you told me once you had barley," Bill said, "Yeah, I can bury you in barley." Bill likes to tell that specific story.
Sure.
And he keeps burying us in it, and it's great. But yeah, so Baroness, German variety that was bred in I want to say the late 70s, early 80s, for malting, did not quite, to go back to the breeding stuff, did not quite pass muster for, let's say, reasons lost to time, because I honestly don't know. Sure. But and then the way seed companies work is they do that breeding. If it doesn't work, they try to sell that that variety to somebody else for some other purpose. It came to the Palouse as a feed barley. It was very popular in the 90s into the early 2000s. The next thing came along promising growers better returns, and Bill just never stopped growing it. I don't think he knew it tasted good in beer for much of that time, and it probably took us a while to figure out the right expression of Baroness. But for brewers, we move a lot of it in English malt styles because it's very familiar to Maris Otter.
Yeah, it does have that distinct English character.
Yeah, just a rich, warm, bottom layer. That's why against a berry forward or a dank or a piney hop in a West Coast hoppy ale, it's great. The other thing that we do at the malt house is we're very focused on Pilsner malt, because it's ironically, I guess, it's the place where while we have to steward the barley through the process, we're doing the least to alter the flavor, and that is related to the amount of heat that we apply. So you soak the barley, you let the barley sprout, and then you toast it. And by doing those 3 steps, you make sugar available to the brewer, and you make it shelf stable. And most of the malting industry, you do that as well as possible. You've won. You don't think too much about other flavor other than does it not taste bad. Baroness tastes particular. Turns out most barley tastes particular. And Pilsner malt is fascinating because you really let the flavor of the barley shine through.
Yeah.
And I'm continually fascinated by how different brewers approach thinking about that aspect of beer as they're making it. And I think I love the diversity of perspective. I think it's probably driven by the fact that most folks haven't experienced that much variation. So there's this maybe a little bit of a Wild West moment of what can Pilsner do for your beer? Which ironically, at the same time that there is a certain conversation that says use Pilsner malt in your hoppy ale because it doesn't taste like anything. So we can really dial what we're doing with hops, which I actually really respect. I think that's a great approach to say, we're trying to change all these things. Let's minimize the variables. Great. Pick out a Pilsner malt that doesn't interfere with those tweaks.
Right.
As soon as you've got an idea of what you're doing with your various hop products and your process, think about what could I do to amplify or modify or change the flavor in a complementary way, where you're adding flavor, but you're also just seasoning in a way that builds character, and then the variety specific, regional specific Pilsner malt revolution is we're ready for you. And we can probably use the time to get our shit dialed before everybody's knocking down our door. But but yeah, we're very proud of our Pilsner malt, and I think that the fact that Baroness was the first thing we ever touched, and that the thing saying we want to be a better version of what macro beer promised you as a Northwesterner,
dude,
in Douglas Lager, and they're using 100% Baroness Pilsner is this is the future. And I love the amount of engagement with John and Chris around using the malt, what they're trying to accomplish with this beer, how we get to support them, whether it's introducing the beer in the Spokane market or whatever. It's awesome.
So this is an awesome point with Baroness, and this is the thing that I like the most about it, because I think if you're an American brewer and you're making something like Douglas or any other kind of light lager that obviously was originally based on Czech var and these very OG European styles, and obviously have been stripped of much of their character. If you're trying to build a bridge back to that but still produce something that's 100% American, Baroness is the bridge to me. That's what that is. Because it does, like, it's not 100% Maris Otter. There definitely is like a dialed down version of like that bready character. But like, I mean, Wet Coast, like there's a lot of like really great local breweries have made some of their best beers using Baroness. But also,
They even named it.
Yeah, it's just Baroness Pale, and it's fucking tremendous.
Great.
Yeah. Baroness is funny because it is so distinct. Because it's definitely more European than typical American malt, but it is less European than typical European malt. That's the bridge. And so, like, Rikki and I went through the same Cicerone exams together.
That's how we met.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Chicago.
In Chicago. And then we realized we live like 2 hours from each other.
It was great.
Super weird, but it was awesome. And like, you're a fucking hop scientist now, so like this is different for you. But like, you know, you take these exams and you don't always have like, you don't always have avenues in your day job to like, you know, apply the stuff that you learn when you're studying for these things.
That's why I work in hops now.
Yeah, you're like, yeah. I don't every 6 months I don't want to prove why I spent all this money and time on these fucking exams.
Yep.
So I work in distribution. I don't get a chance to do that very often. But I did go consult with a program that was trying to release beer, and one of the beers that they had made was Bohemian Pilsner, and like a core beer memory for me, it wasn't even that long ago, was kind of a situation like that where I felt like I actually could apply some of my like sensory analysis skills to helping these guys dial in their beer recipe. And they called their beer a Bohemian Pilsner. And I was like, it doesn't taste super Bohemian. I feel like you're missing some things. Although there is like this touch of like bready character. Are you using European ingredients? And they said no. And I was like, okay, so like I am getting something here. Like, are you using Baroness? And I just called it out specifically. And they were like, oh, fuck, yeah. And I think that was the first time I've ever like, I mean, hops you can kind of do that with pretty often. But it's the first time I've ever been able to like sensory analysis call out a specific malt. Wow. And like, I have been doing this for 10 years. I have spent countless fucking hours trying to be able to identify raw ingredients in beer. And that's the Baroness is expressive enough and different enough where I could tell that it wasn't completely European, but I could also tell that it wasn't completely American. Yeah. And there's nothing else that exists like that. And that's really important, because if your goal as a brewer is to build a bridge between what exists now and what existed then, now you have a tool for it. And if your goal as a consumer is to try something new that reminds you of something old, now you have a beer for that. Now you have an ingredient for that. And that didn't exist before. And that's like Baroness, I feel like, is important because of that thing. And it also, I think, speaks to like your goals and your work as a craft maltster is that exact thing.
Yeah. Fucking cheers to that, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, cheers.
Just cheers.
Yeah.
We have a shorty episode. Do you guys want to hear about I almost died the other day?
Please tell us.
It's not even funny now.
All right, Grain and Grainers. I'm Sean Jackson, and I fuck up all the God-blessed time, as we all do. So, please do regale us with your fuck-up stories.
Okay, so Yelm Brewfest just happened this past weekend as their inaugural beer fest. So 507 Tap Room is a fantastic tap room down in Yelm. It's like the central craft beer spot, and they have really good beer buyers there who've been connected to the industry for a while. Yelm's a relatively small town, but like the craft beer palette there is fucking elevated to a point where you just, you might not always assume that. They're pouring fucking Varietal and Single Hill and Block 15 and all this like great shit. And so the Brewfest was super fun. But, I don't have a bunch of breweries that can come up and go hang out in Yelm for 2 days. So I hosted most of the breweries, which means I had all my jockey boxes, all my CO2, everything. And so did the festival. It was fantastic. Driving back, I didn't go straight to the warehouse to like empty all my shit out. I left it in my house and then was going back Monday morning, to the warehouse. And I was getting on the highway and I thought I had everything like really tucked in super well in the back of my car, but I took a fucking turn like a little too hard, I guess. And my CO2 tanks clapped together and the fucking valve busted on one of them.
Oh my God.
And like, it was a big one too, like a huge CO2 tank. And so my car immediately filled with CO2 gas, like foggy, can't see through shit.
Oh my God.
Heavy CO2 gas.
Holy
and
shit.
within like 10 seconds, I was so fucking dizzy.
Yeah.
And I could feel myself like like doing that shit.
Yeah.
Did you
It
hear
just.
it? It was
So I heard it and I saw the fog. It
You knew.
it must have.
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
immediately, right? And I was like, "Fuck!" I had these like done, and I didn't like think right away to roll down the window.
Right.
I just like
Yeah.
saw the gas, and I'm like on the highway, and I'm like, "Fuck!" There's not even like a good like safe place to do this because it's like on a turn getting onto the highway.
Fuck.
So I was like, "Okay, I just need to like pull over." But like the second that I hit the shoulder, I could feel myself like getting sleepy,
Yeah.
and so I fucking swung my door open and then like got out, and it's a big tank, and it was mostly still full. So there's like gas just pouring out of my car, and it doesn't look like your car is breaking down. It just looks like
You can
liquid
see it. Like,
nitrogen.
once
You
you're
can
not
see
in
it.
an enclosed-
Yeah, you can like see it
Yeah.
pouring out like it's fucking liquid. And so I'm like, it took me like 20 minutes to like sit on the side of the road, but I had to like breathe and like fucking, I got dizzy so fast. It replaces the oxygen in a small environment so fucking quickly. I almost died in the dumbest fucking way possible.
Yeah. Well, so did you know that? So Washington State, at all the brewers festivals, it is part of the law in the WAC, I think, to have your CO2 containers. Actually, you have to have it secured and zip tied, like to the table, to avoid those types of things.
Oh,
'Cause,
so
like,
it doesn't fall.
Yeah, so it doesn't fall. But like,
And you
even,
don't create a bubble of CO2 that kills the fucking
or it
four
just it
people in
doesn't
line.
like because it's high pressure, it shoots out too.
Yeah,
but like,
totally.
I'm just gonna do a shout out to OSHA.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say
Dude, what a
this episode
fucking-
may need to be trimmed for length /
Yeah.
OSHA.
Dude, it was fucking scary.
Wow,
though.
that is
I like
scary.
pull over
Dude.
and then like I was like, what do I do? Like, do I reach in and try to close this or fix it? I didn't want to like touch it because if it like came off,
And
then
it's
my
also
fucking-
freezing, so you're gonna burn
it's
yourself.
so freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you're I just stood on the side of the road
There's
and
just
like
a tiny hole in the atmosphere
Yeah.
above your car, I guess. Thank you very much.
I know, seriously.
At least you're alive.
I know. Well, like it was, I would like felt super like as soon as it stopped, like bleeding and I couldn't hear anymore. I got
Yeah.
back into the car and I rolled all my windows down.
Yeah.
But like CO2 is also like really stable in atmosphere, so
Right.
it just sits.
Yeah.
So like I still had a bubble sitting in my fucking car, so I sat back in my car and I could feel it again, and I was like, "Ugh." So I just opened all my doors and then
Yeah.
like let it sit for another 10 minutes, and then
Yeah.
like I was like, I fucking got back in the car,
Yeah.
not even like thinking about it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that brewing and malting is actually a super dangerous job. People don't realize, like, it's not just like you fuck up your back because you're carrying all the grain bags. Like, there is CO2 is off-put by the barley while it's respirating for the malting process. Like, during the fermentation process, your CO2 alarms are going off in your cellar or whatever. You should pay attention to it, because even if it isn't enough to make you even dizzy in the first place, that long-term exposure can kill you. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
it's
also
not
true.
good for your body. Like, people make beer and they're risking their bodies. But you know, in the long term, it's so important for brewers and maltsters to, and even like, you know, bartenders and folks who are working at distributors who are going to a festival, to understand that you're so much more worth than whatever beer we're making. You're so much more worth than whatever barley we're trying to breed. Like, just
appreciate
take
that.
care of
Thank you.
yourself, please. Yes. Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
We
I
should
immediately went and bought styrofoam cushions for my CO2 stuff.
put out a
Yeah.
book
Strap
called
it in,
Fuck
strap
Ups
it in. And you
to
should
help
buy
the public.
Yeah.
buy
All
CO2
our fuck
helmets.
ups.
So yeah,
CO2 monitors
store your
for breweries.
CO2 upright, strap it in, don't lay it down.
Strap it
Put
the fuck
CO2
in.
monitors in any of your
Yeah.
cold rooms. Like,
CO2
it's
monitors.
just
you can
you're-
wear one as a brewer. You could have one. It's like a personal
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
CO2 monitor. If you walk in somewhere and it's not good, it'll start.
And
Yeah, it's
you
like a life
are worth
alert.
it, no matter who you are. You're so worth it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 800 barrels. It doesn't matter if it's 2 barrels. You are much more worth it. So don't die.
Thanks, Ricky. Lesson learned.
Just want to hug you.
Final word, don't die.
Don't die. Yeah.
All right, Grit and Grainers. Email us at cheersandgritandgrainpodcast.com with your comments, opinions, and malt-fueled dreams of building a barley sauna in your backyard, hand threshing heirloom grains in the linen overalls, and just pondering whether it's weird that your malt crush smells like a warm sourdough and childhood. Wow. We read and drink everything we receive, and we try to respond as quickly as we can, if not online, then on air, preferably while seated on the floor malting bed of barrenness, sipping a house lager made from tears of happy Spokane farmers. You can subscribe to Grit and Grain on Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher, and please leave us a review. Also check us out on Channel 253. Woo! and gritandgrainpodcast.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for episode notes, beer news, and what could happen if Old MacDonald had a malt company in Eastern Washington, E-I-E-I-O. And on that malt floor, he had a floor rake and a soil health metric and a tattoo of Wendell Berry riding a buffalo across the Palouse with the words, "Know your maltster," inked beneath in looping cursive. His mash tun playlists were probably the Mountain Goats and mid-90s trip hop. His idea of romance was a handheld sack of Buzz Pilsner malt and a six-pack of brewed with single origin spelt. He once cried at a collaboration brew day because the brewer called his malt crisp but emotionally nuanced. His goal, just to malt grain, but to re-enchant it, to convince jaded brewers that malt isn't just starch and color, but story and soul and human hands and a weather pattern named Clyde. Old MacDonald is not sure if LINC is a business, a movement, or just slowly building a love poem to the inland Northwest. Maybe all three. But when the barley hums and the brew kettles sing and the foggy Spokane morning smells like kiln honey and just moan magic, he knows exactly where you should be. If this podcast is not what you expected, please alter your expectations. If you never considered licking a kernel of raw
Triticale.
Thanks, guys.
You got it.
Malt, just to see what the universe might reveal, Brian would gently encourage it. No such thing as a bad time to visit Tacoma. No such thing as too much barley wine.
Whoa!
Malt forwarded barley wine.
Word.
Tune in next Friday for more sweet chatter. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Rikki. Thanks, Brian. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us at Grit and Grain Podcast wherever you get your social media and catch new episodes every Friday. Cheers.
Get up.
Channel 253 is member supported. I'm producer Doug Mackey, and I hope you will show your support by going to channel253.com/membership and join. Thank you. Grit and Grain is part of the Channel 253 podcast network. Check out our other shows: Nerd Farmer, Move to Tacoma, Interchangeable White Ladies, What Say You, Citizen Tacoma, and Kitchen 253.
This is Channel 253.